Okay, here we are into week 6, into day 5. How quickly the days have gone by. You're thinking, no, they haven't, not this week. This week was a bit more pro. Okay, so day 5, fine-tuning a frontier model. We're going to use OpenAI's API to fine-tune our private variant. We're going to use GPT-4o Nano, not many. And it's going to be great. We're using supervised fine tuning, SFT, which is the most common by far and clearly the right fit for our use case. So I'm loading in all data. As you'll see, it doesn't matter whether you do the false or true. Loading in the full 800,000 data set. Let's do that and print out our data to make sure we've got it. And we're going to be using the OpenAI client library. You remember? OpenAI is OpenAI. This seems like ages ago that we did this stuff, all the way back in week 2. So that is our Python client library that we will be starting there. And then we're going to talk about how many data points are we going to use for fine tuning. So look, here's the thing. OpenAI recommends that you do not use many data points for fine-tuning. They recommend starting with only 50 to 100 data points and then only increasing if you want to. The reason for that is that SFT, you're working here with a massive pre-trained model. And the idea of fine-tuning OpenAI is to just add on some hints, give it some ways to understand what it is you're after. Maybe you want it to always reply with a bit of sarcasm. Maybe you want it to always refuse to answer personal questions. It's something that you're trying to teach it in addition to what it does. And it shouldn't take too many examples for that. So as you may get a bit of a hint here, what we're trying to do, which is teach a really very different skill, and we have masses of examples, that's not exactly a great use case for fine-tuning a frontier model. It's a better use case for fine-tuning an open source model, for building something yourself. Not so great for fine-tuning a frontier model. We're still going to give it a good old stab. Now look, I'm going to go a bit crazy here, and I'm going to try putting in 20,000 points, a ton of data, because I really want to try and teach a frontier model this skill. It costs me $3.42, so it's still not hugely expensive because Nano is a very cheap model. So I wanted to go with a really cheap model and give it tons of examples because the way I see it, we can't expect it to pick up too much expertise unless it sees a range of prices, at least for every category. But you should not do this many. So I'm doing 20,000. You should just do the 100. I'm going to change this to 100 for when you run it, so that I'm going to. I suggest we go with 100 examples. I'm going to go with the bigger number, but you shouldn't do that. So let's just see here. If I do len fine-tuning train, mine is going to still say 20,000 because I changed this after I ran it, but you should say 100. It's going to cost you nothing, and that's a good number to be with. Okay, so now let's get to our prompt. Now, I made this prompt a bit better yesterday, I think. So let's go and use the prompt that we ended up with yesterday. Let's keep everything the same. So what was the final prompt that we went with yesterday? Estimate the price of this product. Respond only with the price, no explanation. Let's take exactly that and put that right here. Estimate the price of this product. Respond with the price, no explanation. And then here we have the price. And yeah, I see here. Let's make it give the whole price like that. Item.price. So we're giving it this data as a list of dictionaries, which has the price of the product, and then it responds with just the price. So let me give you an example. If we look at the training point number 0, it says, estimate the price of this product, respond with the price, no explanation. And there's the stuff about some interior knob, deadbolts included. And what comes back? Role assistant, content, and that's the price. So this is what we want it to learn how to respond. We want to say, hey, look, if we give you this user prompt, we want you to respond with this assistant response. That's what we're structuring our data as. Lots of examples like this, so it can learn that this is the type of assistant response that should come as a result of this user request. Okay, that's the game. That's what we're going to do. We now want to put together 20,000, in my case, 100 for you, Examples of this, package it up and tell OpenAI, hey, go and make me a variant of GPT-4o Nano that has learnt from this data. Okay, so we're going to have a function called make JSON-L. Sound familiar? It's quite similar to what we did in day 2. So it's going to go through, it's going to take a set of items, it's going to iterate through those items, it's going to call this messages for function to turn it into messages, turn that into JSON, and dump that into a line of a JSON file. Okay, so what does that look like if we take the first 3 training points? Well, look, it looks like this. It's 3 lines of JSON, which has messages, and then we've got exactly the stuff that came from here. We've got like estimate the price of this product. There's the details of the product. And at the very end here is the response that should be coming back from the model. Okay, very nice. So that is a JSON-L representation of 3 of our training data points. Okay, here's another little function called write JSON-L. It will take the items and a file name, and it will write that to a file. Great, this is super easy. So we're going to use that same folder, JSON-L, over here that we used before when we were doing our batch mode. Let's write a new file called fine-tune train for all of our fine-tuning data set. And by the way, we're also going to have a separate data set called validation. You may have noticed I also put to one side 50 data points to be used for validation. So we'll also use them. We'll write that to a file as well. Here we go. And we've now written 2 files, fine-tune train and fine-tune validation. Let's go into our JSON-L folder and make sure that we can see that. Where are we now? JSON-L. Here we go. There's fine-tune train. There it is. Look at all these. And fine-tune validation, there should be 50 of these. And here, if we go here, there should be, for you, 100. Make sure there's only 100. For me, there's going to be 20,000 because I'm crazy. So I want to spend another $4. I want to do my best to get us something worth our time. So there we have it. Go back to day 5. Okay, so now what we're going to do is tell OpenAI, I want you to create a file, upload a file of this JSON-L I'm going to give you, and then the purpose is going to be fine-tune. And this is where we do it. And I'm hoping this is going to be quite similar. This is going to be familiar. You're going to be like, I recognize this. We before had grok.files.create. We passed in a file, and our purpose was batch. When we told Grok, hey, we want to upload a file for batch purposes. Guess what? OpenAI has exactly the same kind of API. I think I mentioned that to you already. And it's OpenAI.files.create. And you could put purposes batch, or in this case, the purpose is fine-tune. And so that's what we do. And we are uploading a file to OpenAI for the purposes of fine-tuning. And it's really thinking about this one. And it will be fast for you because you've only got 100 items in there. I run it, and here we go. It has a file ID. Remember that? We had that with Grok as well. And we can do the same for our validation file. And this is what that looks like. Great. We've just uploaded 2 files to OpenAI. And in case you don't believe me, I've got a little link here to platform.openai.com/storage/files. Let's click on that. Up we come into OpenAI. Here we are in the storage section. And you'll see up here a couple of files, a couple of JSON-L files that I just uploaded seconds ago. Status is ready. It's 27 kilobytes, the validation file. This one, the training file, is 11 megabytes because I've got the 20,000 things in there. Yours, presumably, will be much smaller. Yours will be about 50K or so, 60K. So there are the files uploaded at the ready, sitting in OpenAI. Time for us to do it. They even say the purpose is fine-tune. It's there. They're sitting there. They're ready. It's time for us to fine-tune.